Sometimes life is messy. Have you ever wished you could refocus your mind, home, relationships, and work life? Join us as we use research-based information to make practical changes and simplify life. This is Life Simplified.
Welcome to Life Simplified. I'm Ashley, and I'm your host for this episode. And February is all about fighting the freeze. We are excited to bring you this topic this month. And today we're going to talk about thawing your New Year's resolution. So I wanted to get started with the ladies here by asking them a few questions about a Pew Research study that was done in January of 24. So it is a year old, but I thought this would be fun. And I don't know if I thought it would be fun because I already know the answers or what, but we're going to give it a go. So according to this Pew Research study, what percentage of Americans do you think reported making a New Year's resolution? And this was last year. So any guesses?
85%.
All right.
I say 60.
I'm going to go in the middle and say 73.
The correct answer, according to the study, was 30%.
Oh, wow.
I figured it was low.
Yeah, only 30% made New Year's resolutions. So based on that number, what age group are most likely to make New Year's resolutions? Would it be 18 to 29, 30 to 49, or 50 plus?
I'm going 30 to 49. I'm going right in the middle group.
I agree with Tiffany.
I'm saying 50.
Almost half were ages 18 to 29.
Oh, wow.
So, yes, so young adults, or what we're considering young adults, are more likely to make New Year's resolutions.
That's funny. I would have thought it would be in the middle group, like, okay, I'm not as young as I was, but I've still got time. Like, what am I going to adjust and adapt right now? I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm in the middle age group.
Because that's where we are, and we're like,
I don't make one, so that's why I'm like, well, it's not that group, because I don't.
I mean, you're right. I don't make one either, to be honest.
Yeah, so I just figured we're over it.
we just aren't doing it.
So it makes sense it would be a younger, like.
You know what? We're burnt. We're burnt out. We got too much going on. We're overbooked. We're like, I don't have time for this nonsense.
Well, that's a great teaser, because we are going to talk about burnout next week.
Yes.
So come back for that one too. Which was the most popular topic in 2024 for a New Year's resolution? Was it work and career, hobbies, money and finances, or health, exercise, diet?
I'm going to say it's probably the health, exercise, and diet. I don't know why I think that, but with the younger generation, I do see, just the trends of them getting out, being active. So I'm going to say the health, exercise, and diet one.
I'm going to go with money and finance.
Okay, I'm going to go with hobbies.
Okay, so Joni gets a gold star. It was health, exercise, and diet, and then money and finances was a close second. And then the last question: what was the main reason cited for not making a resolution? So we had 70% of people who were like, nope. So why did they say no?
I'm going to say because no one completes them. Like, I think, like, you feel like you're destined for failure.
I was going to say, I was setting yourself up for failure.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to do it. I'm in my routines.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But that's okay. The majority said that they just don't like to. And I was like, I like it.
Yeah.
I like that reason.
I didn't know that was a reason. I didn't know we could say that.
Yeah, like, okay.
Well, that's kind of like Joni, like, well, I
don't know. Don't want to.
Don't want to.
Yeah, I just don't want to. I don't like it. So
I wonder if it's because we all like, okay, these are the young ones that are making them. Mm-hmm. The rest of us, are we like, we're in that decision fatigue era. So we're like, I just don't want to make another decision. I don't want to commit to something else. I'm overcommitted. I'm overdecided. Like, no, I'm just not dealing with it.
I could see that 100%.
For sure.
I'm in survival mode. So
Absolutely.
I'm just trying to do the things I already need to do. I can't go.
Definitely.
I tell my husband all the time, like, I'm not making any more decisions. You're home, you make them, because I'm done for the week.
Right?
Yes. Okay, so for those of you and us who did make New Year's resolutions, we did talk a few episodes ago in our life update about goals that we had set for the new year. I don't know that we specifically called them New Year's resolutions, but we wanted to accomplish something. And while it may not be 30 days since you have listened to that episode, it has been 30 days since we have set this goal. So let's remember back. Joni said that she wanted to be the best version of Joni that she could be. Tiffany said she wanted to set aside time for physical activity and fall in love with her life. Amanda said she wanted to take more time for herself, and she also wanted to incorporate more physical activity. And then I said I wanted to have more fun, move more, develop my leadership skills, and set aside time to plan at work. So, ladies, it's time. How are we doing? And there's a reason that I'm asking so early. I know it hasn't been very long. We're only about, well, when this airs, we will be over a month into the new year. So I know we're not very far in the new year, but how are we doing? And I can go first. This will make everybody feel better. So
This will make everybody feel better.
this will make everybody feel better. So she's like, they have all failed.
I was like, she's taking her leadership skills.
There we go.
I mean,
Leadership skills check.
right here.
No. Okay.
Love
So
it.
I'll start.
Okay.
And then maybe everybody will want to tell me, and you. So have more fun. Fail. Fail.
we need to get one of those buzzers.
Wah, wah.
Survey said no.
Physical activity, check.
Okay.
I have, and now it was very vague. I was like, move more, and I have done that. I have stuck to most days walking after lunch on my walking pad.
Good
so
for
I'm going to
you.
go with a check mark on that one for now.
Like it.
Develop leadership skills. Meh, fail.
No, I can't say that.
You just went to a
no.
leadership retreat like last week.
Okay, fine.
I think
In progress.
There you go.
That's better.
In
I'll
progress.
accept
there you
it.
go.
All right, set aside time to plan. Fail. I looked at my calendar to try to set aside time to plan, and I was like, how am I gonna do that one? So I will say failure for now, but in progress. I'm still gonna work on that. So, all right. Hopefully everybody feels better about their progress. Let me hear it.
Okay, so my two parts here. So let's start with physical activity. Definitely doing better than pre-2025. So there's improvement. But this week, I've been a little more lax than I want to be, specifically. Because there's been, I don't know, I think I've just been tired this week, which is when I need to move more. But the week's not over. Because I count my week Monday through Sunday. So I still have 3 days to get back on track. So that is like, I'm getting back on track. We're going to be good here. And it's actually been fun because I've been getting my 13-year-old to come with me, and she actually really enjoys it. So we're helping hold each other accountable, but she's much more active than me because she's got volleyball practices mixed in too. So I think I've got to realize, like, when she has a day that she's got a heavy volleyball day, I'm just going to have to go alone. So that's in progress. Not exactly where I want it to be, but it's not a fail. It's kind of mid-grade there. Fall in love with your life. I do, y'all. I love my life. I really do. I'm a little overwhelmed. I've said yes to a lot more things than I typically say yes at this point. So I am slightly like, whew, that's a lot. But as a whole picture, when I think about like my days, there is so much more good than bad. And I'm really enjoying my spouse and my kids and activities and planning fun stuff to look forward to. And the things I am saying yes to are, for the most part, things I really enjoy. So I do love my life, and I'm working really hard every day to make decisions that help me love it that much more.
So for me, more self-time, I could say it's a progress kind of fail, but I was thinking, hey, if I've been taking a little bit longer showers, so I'm like, hey, that's my self-time, right? I can hide in the bathroom most of the time. So I have a toddler, in case you don't know that. So if you had small children in your house, there's not much alone time at all. So I'm getting there. And then the physical activity, it's better than it used to be. It's not where I want it to be, but I did get my walking pad, so I got to try it out. And I've been trying to continue to do some stuff with my son. So moving more, like I said, it's not where I want to be, but I'm getting there.
Okay, so for me, being the best person that I can be, I could kind of say maybe fail, progress, but really, what is the best version of me? So, kind of look at it like that. I know what I think the best version of me is, and I'm not there, but maybe one of these days I will. So still working towards it.
Yes, still in progress.
See, everybody was progress, but it's progress, not perfection.
Exactly.
Come on. We're all doing better than we were doing, so that's a win.
Exactly. And we're all still sticking with most of them. Like, we've not completely given up yet, right?
Right.
Okay.
I love the fact, though, of how every one of us is honest. I mean, we are genuine with our answers of where we are in our lives. And, just because one person's one place doesn't mean the other person is not, and having that encouragement and the support of our friends and also our family members is 100%,
Yes. And I won't say that I don't have any fun. My goal is just to have more fun and not be so serious and tired when I get home.
Well, and I think, too, it's like figuring out what your definition of fun is.
Right, because it's different.
Yeah. And there used to be like, oh, fun is I'm going on a vacation or I'm going to a concert. It had to be something big. But then now I realize, like, fun can be the little things. Mm-hmm. Like, I think the other night we watched an episode of Family Feud, and it was funny and it was silly and it was lighthearted and it was fun. But it was like 25 minutes, and it wasn't expensive. It was right there on my television. I'm already paying for it. And it was chill. Yes. So I think sometimes we have to like manage our expectations of what we're trying to accomplish.
Yes. And which we'll talk about in a few minutes, but being specific, because your definition of fun may be different than my definition of fun. My child's definition of fun is very different than my definition of fun. So we have to be specific when we're thinking about this, but I don't want to get ahead of myself. So put a pin in it. We'll come back.
Gotcha.
So in 2023, Columbia University did a study that showed that only about 25% of people stick with their resolutions after 30 days. So that was my 30-day thing when I was like, okay, guys, I know it hadn't been very long, but we're going to see where we are. And then less than 10% accomplish their goals. So why do you think that is? Why is that? Why do we need to thaw our New Year's resolution after 30 days?
I think it is that unrealistic expectations. Like, we place this idea of perfection on ourselves, and then it gets overwhelming. Instead of fighting through like the uncomfortable and the hard, we're just like, forget it. I can't do it. I'm done with this.
Yes, definitely. And I pulled several different sources. We'll list those in the show notes. But that was one of the big ones, that we have set unrealistic, unattainable expectations. And it's too much. And many of us are focusing on, well, I have to get it right 100% of the time. And if it's not right 100% of the time, then why am I even trying? So when you have a setback, then it's like, all right, well, scratch that, I messed up. So, I mean, if I was just in my 30 days, have I set myself up to do more fun things? No. So if I'm just like, all right, fine, like I'm just whatever, I can't be fun, it just is what it is, and I'm just going to move on from that. But maybe I need to define what fun is.
So I wonder if it's because we see society be a certain way, on social media, and we set these unrealistic goals for ourselves because we see other people doing it.
Yeah.
Do you think that's probably a lot of reasons why we don't,
it's the highlight reel syndrome. Like that's all we're seeing is people's best, and we're comparing it to our yuck. And of course that we feel like failures then.
Right. In comparison, I mean, we've talked about this several times. Like, you cannot compare. You cannot compare your life to someone else's. So, yes, I think unrealistic expectations. And the research shows we set unrealistic expectations for sure. And then we're also taking on too much, which we've talked about that we say yes to a lot of things. And most of them are very good things and things that we want to say yes to. But some of it's too much. And sometimes we set too many goals. So I'm looking at mine and I'm like, well, I set like 7 goals. And these are just the ones that I told everybody about, So, of course, I took on too many things to change at one time. So rather than focusing on one thing and making sure that I can do that well, not perfect, but progress and well. Sometimes we just set New Year's resolutions because it's a tradition. It's not because we actively want to change something, and that can lead to failure of our goal, because if you're just doing it because everyone else is doing it, then you're not as motivated to make a change. And then I don't know if anybody can relate to this one, but what about when you're being too hard on yourself? You're not having any compassion for yourself, and that can actually lead to failure. Because you're not giving yourself any grace. You're not treating yourself as you would a friend. I mean, I was there like, no, I failed on leadership goals. And what did my friends do? They said, no, you didn't. You just got back from a leadership conference. You have not been failing at developing your leadership goals. But in my head, I'm not there yet. So
I think it's that right there too. Okay, so I was thinking, our all or nothing mentality. It's like I'm either winning or I'm losing, and there's no middle ground. And I look at mine, like, fall in love with your life. Whoa, that could be really heavy.
Yes,
that could be really overwhelming, and you could think, well, I'm failing that. And when I say I love my life, every day is not perfect. There are gross days. There are days that are just like, I want to go back to bed and try this again. As a whole, when I look holistically at all of the things, of the people, the activities, the opportunities, I love my life. And to me, it's like just making choices that make me feel, I don't even know how to say it. It's just like I can enjoy the small things, like making small decisions that add up. And every day is not perfection. And there are days I'm exhausted, more days than not. And there are days that I'm running around like I'm my children's Uber driver, more days than not. And there are days that I'd love to go on a date with my husband, but we have another commitment. But as a whole, I'm so happy to have those opportunities to be able to run my kids all the places, to be able to support them in the activities they do. And then when I carve out the time to have that date night, it means so much. But then finding those other opportunities for connections in the day too. So it's just, you have to let go of the all or nothing mentality. And I am so guilty of that in other areas of my life. Like, it needs to be perfection or I'm not doing it. That's that type A nonsense. But when you give yourself the freedom to know, like, I don't have to do this perfectly, and I need to pay attention to my wins, and I need to celebrate my wins, then it changes everything.
And that is a great point and a great segue, because now we're going to talk about, okay, so we've talked about why things didn't work, why your resolution didn't work. And you may have a totally different reason why yours didn't work. Maybe it just was not the right season for you to set that goal, and you need to work towards a smaller goal. Whatever the reason, there is still hope. You can set a goal, and we're just going to go with a goal. Like, it doesn't have to be a New Year's resolution. It can happen anytime. Anytime you've decided that you need to make a change, set your goal. You do not have to wait for the new year. That's a tradition, but it's not a tradition that you have to continue. I mean, Amanda said, well, I didn't set a New Year's resolution. She has a goal, but she's probably been thinking about that goal for a while, I would guess. She's nodding at me. So.
Yes, I have.
She's like, yes, you are correct. So So let's think about some of the things that will help us with goal setting. And Tiffany mentioned celebrate those wins, even those small ones. A lot of the research said several different sites, and it makes so much sense. Knowing your why. Like, what is your motivation? Why do you want to do that? So when I think about my why as far as physical activity, I don't know how many times that I've mentioned that in a podcast or in my group of friends with us, just in general, to my husband, to my child, how tired I am. When I get home, I am tired. Well, I'm not moving as much as I used to move. I mean, yes, I'm a little older than I used to be when I did all that movement, but I'm not moving as much, and I know that I feel better. So to me, it's not about wanting to look a certain way, or it's not an appearance based. It's more of I want to have the energy to do the things that are fun for me, the things that are fun for my child. I want to feel better. I want to make sure that I'm keeping my heart healthy, and I just want to feel better. So that's my why. That is what's keeping me motivated on those days that I don't want to. And I've really tried not to be so hard on myself. We talked about this a little bit. Focus on one goal at a time. You want your goal to be challenging, but then you also have to break it down into smaller chunks. So for me, just saying I want to be physically active was not enough. I had to specifically say, I'm going to walk for 10 minutes. And 10 minutes may not seem like a lot, but 10 minutes is what I have during the day. And then I'm typically more motivated when I get home in the afternoon to be like, okay, well, now I can do 10 minutes here, and then maybe I'll do another 10 minutes later. But I'm setting myself up for success rather than telling myself that, well, you have to walk for 45 minutes or you have to walk for 30 minutes. We've talked about SMART goals before. Those are goals that are specific. So my goal of have more fun, not very specific at all. So that may be why I'm not doing a great job at it, because what does fun even mean? Does that mean I want to read more during the day? Does that mean that I want to go to the movies? What does that mean? So that right there, I was not setting myself up for success. They're also measurable, attainable, realistic, and then time bound. So when do I want to do this? Set that specific amount of time. What other things can y'all think of that work when we think about goal setting?
One thing for me that's really important is having some level of accountability, like having someone that knows either they're coming alongside of me to reach the goal together, or they know it's something I'm working on. They're checking in with me, because if someone's like, hey, how's that thing going? You have a level of like, ooh, I should probably work on that, or at least make an attempt or do something. But I think having someone with you, for one, it does hold you accountable, but I think also it makes it easier. Like I said, my daughter's been exercising with me some, and it's fun because we, first of all, are not where we want to be physically, so we get quite the chuckle at each other as we're trying to do some of the things in our workout. But it's also when I'm feeling like, oh, I don't know if I have the energy for this, she's like, we got to do this. And then vice versa. You know, a lot of times we don't both have the day on the same day. So we can encourage each other and help, get each other on the right path. And like same things if you're just wanting to be healthier, like nutrition wise, like, okay, let's make decisions together. Having someone checking in on you, I think makes a big difference, a big impact on being able to finally make that push to do it. But I also think for me, whenever I think about any of the goals I've actually been able to accomplish and maintain, it can't be something that I just want to do for today. Like, it can't be, I would love to get fit for a vacation tomorrow. because then the vacation will come and go, and then we're back at it. It has to be a lifestyle change. It has to be something that I want to incorporate and make part of my life from here on out, or else it comes and goes.
Yeah, that's definitely true. And accountability is so important, whether that be that someone is actually doing it with you, or you've told a friend about it, you've told a family member about it. Maybe you've joined a group. That could be an accountability group on social media. That could be one that meets in person. Whether you're using technology to keep yourself accountable, or whether or not you have a coach. There's lots of ways to be accountable. And one thing that I found in the research, and I really loved this, because sometimes we talk about motivation and we're just not motivated. Oh, like yesterday, I was not motivated. I found this quote from a clinical psychologist and assistant professor at the University of New Mexico, and I loved it. So I wanted to take just a couple of minutes to think about that and discuss it. Dr. Jennifer Crawford says, when we think about change, we might be waiting a long time if we're waiting to feel motivated to do something differently. It can be helpful to flip that around on its head and instead think about doing differently to feel differently. What are your thoughts about that?
Don't you also think that it is where, we want gratification right then?
Yes.
We want it before we even do anything.
We want instant results.
Yeah, instant results. We're going to be this type of person without even having to go through the struggles of getting there. We want it. We said we want it in our brain, so then we're going to automatically be there. And that's not the case. That's why we should set small goals that are attainable for us. So I just kind of went through my head, that we always want to be this perfect person with these goals, and then we set ourselves up for failure before we even start.
Yes. And we have to make our goal a priority in our life. If it is a change that you truly want to make, you're not making it out of tradition's sake, you're making it because you know your why, then we have to prioritize that goal even if we don't feel motivated to do it.
Okay, so I like this second sentence you read, so I'm going to reread it. It can be helpful to flip that around on its head and instead think about doing differently to feel differently. And I think that may be the core of my goal of falling in love with my life, because it's realizing at this point, which I'm going to call middle age, and in the midst of all the things, it's when you have that realization that your life is a choice, and the way you feel about your life, and whether you love your life or whether you dread getting up in the morning, is in a lot of ways a choice. And so to me, it's doing differently to feel differently. It's making choices. It's saying, I'm going to love my life. I'm going to make the choices. I'm going to choose to do things that inspire me and encourage me. And I'm focusing on the gratitudes and the good and the positive. And to be honest, I've thought about this for a long time. There's been a lot lately. There's been a lot of people that I've seen be sick and pass away and not have opportunities that we're afforded just by waking up and taking a breath today. And how irresponsible of me to not value the time I'm given and to make the absolute best out of it. And so when I say I want to love my life, it means I don't know how much life I have. I don't know what I get, but I want to make the best of what I get. And I think probably I've told the ladies in this room before, but my grandmother sent me a card for my first wedding anniversary to my husband, and I found it years later, and I keep that card in my drawer. And she signed it, not love, not congratulations, not whatever. It simply said, be happy. Almost like a direction to be she knows, I'm going to worry about all the things. I'm going to get in my head about all the things. But just be happy. And I think, why not? Why not choose to be happy? Why not choose to do differently, to feel differently? You may not wake up in the circumstance you want, but what choices can you make? What can you cling on to? What can you gravitate to decide I'm going to love my life? And I may not be exactly where I want to be, but I'm going to get there, and I'm going to make each next decision to get me closer to what it is I'm hoping for. I'm going to be happy. And one day I will have that tattooed on me somewhere, people. I've been saying it for years, but I think it's just a good reminder. Like, we have choices, and we can choose to do something different so that we can feel different and be different.
That's the perfect summary for the whole episode. You have a choice. Make your choice. Stick to it. What small, very small, just a small step can you do each day to move towards your goal? We hope that you have gained something from this episode. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us on our social media pages or on our email, lifesimplifiedpodcast@gmail.com. We would love to hear your comments. We would love to hear what your goals are and how you are planning to reach those. Please help us spread the word about the podcast. If you can just rate and review our podcast, if you have enjoyed listening to us and you've been listening for a while, we would love for you to rate that. That really helps get our podcast out on the app so that when people are searching, they can find us. And if you are so inclined, share our social media pages and tell a friend about our podcast. Thank you for listening. This is Life Simplified.
Thanks for listening to Life Simplified. We are family and consumer sciences agents with the University of Kentucky Cooperative Extension Service. Contact us at lifesimplifiedpodcast@gmail.com.